This is Rick Santos with another Baker to Vegas video. Today's video, we are going to talk specifically about the follow vehicle. We're going to go over some items, including a section in the rule book, also what to expect when you get to the follow vehicle check-in location. First thing I want to talk about is we're going to go to bakervegas.net, as you see here on my screen. We're going to go over the checklist. I'm going to show you where to find it. We're going to go to follow vehicle and checklist. We'll review this real quickly. Again, the FRS radio is channel 3, tone 18, and it is mandatory that every follow vehicle has an FRS radio. Hopefully you choose to print out this form ahead of time. You're going to put in your team name, your team number. Inspected by, you're going to leave that blank because the individual who is inspecting your vehicle is going to complete that information. And when you arrive there, you're going to hand this form that is filled out to the inspector. Some information before we go over this form. Just be advised that the location of follow vehicle check-in is not right off the I-15. The actual location is on Highway 127, and you're going to be about 35 miles west of I-15. So just be advised, sometimes there's this misconception that, hey, all I got to do is get to I-15 in Baker, California, and it's right there by the thermometer. It is not. The highway entrance is right there. That'll take you into Baker, along into Death Valley, and that's where you're going to be. But it's probably safe to say a 30 to 40 minute drive off of I-15. So just be advised that there is a little bit of travel. Coming back to the form, as you pull in, the staff there will direct you to where you have to go. You're going to line yourself up accordingly by start time. And again, remember that this year we are asking every single team to write their start time in the lower passenger side of the windshield. So as you're coming in, staff is going to check you in and let you know where to line up. As I mentioned, once you line up and drive, the volunteer is going to ask you for this form. If you have it, hopefully you do. And they're going to work down this list. So headlights, they're going to make sure that your headlights are working, that they're proper. The tail lights are working. Brake lights, again, self-explanatory, making sure that all this stuff here is working. Some type of timing device for delays. Now, this is important. Most of us are going to use our cell phones as stopwatches, which is fine, not a problem at all. You don't need a specific stopwatch for that. And truly, the timing delays are in the event that your team is running faster than anticipated and our next stage is not open. So if you're one of those teams that said you were a 19 or 20-hour team, and the reality is you were a 17-hour team, you're going to get stopped multiple times along the race course. So this is where that timing device is going to come into play. You're going to need a rotating light, strobe light up on top, the FRS radio, which I already discussed. And again, I reiterate to you all that this radio, this FRS radio, does not come with the radios that you rent. This is something that you can purchase on Amazon or at Target, Walmart, anything like that. But it is mandatory to FRS radio. And again, tuned to channel 3, tone 18. Caution runner ahead sign, and we'll talk more about what exactly that is. A first aid kit and some instant ice packs. This is, God forbid, if your runner goes down and has heat stroke, we're going to try and cool them down as quickly as possible, or bumps, bruises, things of that nature. first aid kit, make sure that you have bandages and things like that inside your first aid kit. A couple of cases of water, and we're talking about these, what is it, 16.9 fluid ounce bottles, not the tiny ones. Usually the tiny ones will come in cases of 48, but get us a couple of cases of water there. And vehicle markings per the rules, and we'll go over those in just a moment. But those are the mandatory things. Those are the things that you're going to get signed off on. If you have everything ready when you pull in and get your car ready, so that way the personnel can take a look at it and check it off quickly, it makes their life a lot easier. Suggested items, we talk about clipboards, pencils, and pens. And again, most of you are going to have your official run plan in the vehicle, and you're going to use that to document any stoppage time. That's why we talk about clipboards. It's probably easiest if your team captain puts that official run plan on a clipboard, puts it in the follow vehicle, and you have something to write with right next to it. So that way you can document that stoppage time, or if you have a downed runner. So just make sure that you have that. Window markings, if you have one of those white streak pins to write your numbers across the follow vehicle. Food, snacks, toilet paper. Toilet paper, believe it or not, is a big thing. Yes, all of our porta potties will be equipped with toilet paper. However, especially if you're one of the faster teams and are starting later, some of those porta potties may run out. So having extra toilet paper is always nice. The caution runner ahead sign, here are the dimensions. And again, we're talking about the fluid ounces I left down here when we were talking about the gallons of water. Doesn't really apply anymore. And then the team number in reflective tape on the rear window driver's side. So just be advised, be aware to have that set up. Let's see, going back, we're going to go over a couple of these items here. I'm just going to highlight some things before we jump into the rule book. Pardon me, because I'm doing this all live, so it's going to take a moment. But general information, again, this is all found under follow vehicle. Follow vehicle staging, it talks a little bit about where the location is. As I mentioned, it's not immediately off of 120, or I'm sorry, off of I-15, it's off of 127. So just be advised. The amber rotating light, you're going to need one, and that light needs to be seen when it's turned on. So if you have anything that's blocking it, that's not going to work. Just make sure that that light is able to be seen. The FRS radio, we covered that, and of course any sound system that you have, that's fine. We'll talk about the restrictions as we move forward. One of the things I forgot to mention when we talk about the checklist, I apologize for going back. This year at follow vehicle staging, you are going to receive that GPS device from Verizon. So you're going to also need a USB-C charging cord. Now, it's not a mandatory device, mandatory thing that you have, but we do want that plugged in. So just make sure that you have that. I've put that out several times, as well as in the weekly videos. Let's make sure that we have that USB-C charging cord. Again, the USB-C is the part that's going to go into the device. The opposite end will be whatever your follow vehicle has, whether it's normal USB-C or it's something else. So just check with your follow vehicle. We're going to move straight along, and again, like I said, I'll cover some of these items a little bit more detail as we get into the rule book. Vehicle code violations. This goes for the follow vehicle as well as your team vehicles, those that are out there. Let your teammates know speeding is not tolerated. We've had a couple of incidences where runners are trying to hurry up and get out to their legs, and it's cost their team. But more importantly, it's just unsafe. There's so many people out there If you've ever been out on the race course, you understand that there's a ton of vehicles and a ton of people. Tolerating it, or speeding is just not going to be tolerated. Uh, we've spoken with California Highway Patrol as well as Nevada Department or Nevada Highway Patrol, and none of them want to give citations, but we've told them, we've made it clear to them if our staff out there or our runners out there are speeding, to please pull them over because it's in everybody's best interest, including future races because of the permits. So just keep all of that in mind. Make sure that you express that to everyone on your team. Following a runner, I'm going to have a couple photos in just a minute on how to properly follow a runner for the follow vehicle. Just remember, keep a safe distance. The hardest part, especially, once that clock strikes, midnight, trying to stay awake. That's why we have multiple people in that vehicle. Keep a safe distance from your runner. It's nice and slow, but also be aware of your surroundings because you got runners coming up from the rear. And that's where that FRS radio comes into play, because communication between follow vehicles is going to be using that FRS radio. Runners overtaking follow vehicles, we're going to do so in a safe manner. Follow vehicles, as you see a runner coming up, go ahead and move to your left so that way that runner can pass you up and then fall back behind whoever is in front. So if we have a couple of runners running side by side or neck to neck, if you will, whoever's in front, so if it's team 2 and team 3, and team 2 happens to be in front, well then follow vehicle in front will be team 2. But keep in mind, both whoever's in front is going to take care of both of those runners. Because we're out there, I get it, this is competitive, but at the same time, we're out there to make sure that we're all safe and taken care of. Highway 160, follow vehicles in 160 or along 160 are going to be inside the fog line. There's a very big area there along 160. So we're going to make sure that all of our runners and our follow vehicles are well inside of that fog line. And we'll talk about some of this stuff, follow vehicles passing another follow vehicle along 160. The big thing here is making sure that we're safe. Remember that the highways are open, so be advised when passing others that we're doing so in a safe manner. We'll talk a little bit about this when I get into, excuse me, the rule book. I just wanted to highlight and show you where you can kind of find a Cliff Notes version of things. Follow vehicle observer, you have a big role when you're sitting there in that passenger seat. And number one, making sure that your driver is aware of their surroundings. You're that extra set of eyes, but really you're there to also keep a close eye on that runner. We don't want our runners to go down. We don't want our runners to push themselves. The minute you start seeing people wobbling, you're pulling up and you're letting your driver know to pull up alongside and figure out what's going on. So very important role, like I said, as well as documenting any stoppage time or switches within your run plan. This talks about prevention of medical and things of that nature. Downed runner, this is very important. If your runner goes down, in the event of a down runner, it is your job to take control of that runner. If somebody goes down, you and the driver are going to pull aside, load them up, and you're going to make that decision, depending upon how far into the route you are, whether you're going to go back to the previous stage to take your runner, or if you're going to transport them to the next stage, understanding that you are going to leave your alternate runner by themselves for a while, but communicate that to the other follow vehicles in the area. Just let them know that you had an emergency. Obviously, they'll have seen you loading up your runner, and they'll understand and they'll take care of your runner, but communicate that to everybody who's around. If it's an injury or something, then obviously that individual can stay in the follow vehicle until you get to the next stage, and then you can drop them off if you have to. And when I say injury, I'm talking about pulled hamstrings and things like that. If it's nothing major, um, just some type of injury, soft tissue or things like that, then go ahead and keep them in your follow vehicle and finish up, or let your alternate finish up, and then you can make the decision. But medical emergency where somebody actually goes down, yes, 100%, let's transport them. As we load up to the next page, give me 1 second here. As I said, I'm doing this live, so I've got some photos that are coming up. All right, so here we go. So this is, you're not going to have a follow vehicle at the start line. Your runners will be by themselves. However, keep in mind, your runners will not be allowed to start if you don't check in your follow vehicle. The follow vehicle check-in is going to communicate with the start line. They're going to say, hey, here are the follow vehicles that we have for the 8 o'clock time or 9 o'clock, whatever the flight is. They'll let them know which follow vehicles have checked in. And if they do not call that number, your runner will not be allowed to start. So they're going to just pull them aside and let them know, but your time starts. So if you are scheduled to start at 9 o'clock and you, the follow vehicle, have not checked in and it is now 9 o'clock straight up and the gun goes bang and the teams take off and you check in and you get all checked in by 9:05, 9:10, then your runner will be allowed to start. But the clock had already started, so you've already lost whatever time that is. So just be advised. That's why we always recommend that the follow vehicles get there well in advance. We're talking about 45 minutes to an hour in advance minimum. But also know that this year we're asking that only um, necessary personnel be there at follow vehicle check-in. The photos that you're looking at right here are follow vehicle staging. This is how your follow vehicles will stage up. Once you're checked in, you guys will go in trail to follow vehicle staging that is past the start line, and you will stage your follow vehicles up. As your runner, you can see here in this photo, as the runner comes by, the team will pick up their runner and just fall in right behind them. This is at about the 3 mile mark. So the first 3 miles of stage one, your runner is all by themselves. There are 2 water stations out there. So just let your runners know, hey, there'll be a water station about a mile out and another one at about the 2 mile out. And then at that point forward to mile 3, where they pick you guys up. Here you can see the follow vehicle is tight inside of that fog line along Highway 127. There's not a whole bunch of room, but we want you inside the best that you can, as well as the runner is inside the fog line, and that is exactly what we are looking for. Especially stages 1, 2, and 3, there is a lot of traffic. We've tried to minimize that amount of traffic this year with our start times and the amount of teams that we've got going out. But with 274 teams, there's going to be a lot of vehicles out there. So the tighter you can stay inside, that's what we want. We want you inside of that fog line, as you see here. And right here, the photo here on the right side, you can see that the follow vehicle is outside of that fog line and the runner as well is outside the fog line. Now, the follow vehicle is doing a great job in this photo of protecting their runner, but the runner is setting them up for failure by not staying inside that fog line. So runners, you have a job as well to make sure that you are inside of the fog line. Caltrans does an amazing job. Big shout out to them, Caltrans Shoshone, for clearing the shoulder the best that they can. So let's stay inside of that fog line along 127. Again, here is another example. You've got the vehicle outside of that fog line, as well as back here. And this is really when we start running into problems, okay? Because we get so much traffic. These photos were taken early on. It looks nothing like that now. It's actually a lot more traffic out along that highway. So please be advised. And this photo here, this runner back here is the one that's in violation, this follow vehicle. And again, the big thing is staying inside of that fog line. You are permitted, obviously, to come out, as you see in this photo here where it says permitted. You've got your support vehicle coming out and giving the runner some support, whether it looks like in the form of water. 100%, that's what we want you to do. That's why you're there, to take care of them. Not a problem. But as soon as your runner takes that water and gives it back to you, just fall back in. That way there are no issues at all. Just be advised, traffic here, just making sure that we're passing in a safe manner. As long as the follow vehicles are staying tight to that right shoulder inside of that fog line, traffic can flow through pretty easily. So just be advised. Sorry about that. And then, of course, a couple more violations here. We've got runners that are outside of the fog line, follow vehicle outside the fog line, and it makes for a ton of traffic. Looking at this photo here, where my cursor is, you don't leave a lot of room for vehicles to pass you up. So the moral of the story: stay inside that fog line, and all should be well. I'm going to transition over to the rule book. I'm going to back up here for a quick moment if I can and show you where we can find that rule book. If you guys are on the Baker Vegas, again, bakervegas.net website, scroll down, you'll see the rule book here. All you got to do is click on it. I have it pre-opened to the section of follow vehicle, which is chapter 4. We're going to go over some of these things. If I can pull this up, back up a page here. And we're going to go over some items. So as I mentioned, we're not immediately off of I-15. We are a little ways down, about 35 miles from I-15. So just make sure that you have time to travel. Every vehicle must check in. Okay. Please write that start time in the lower passenger side of the windshield, and only necessary personnel at that follow vehicle check-in area, please. There's not a lot of space, a lot of cars out there, and we appreciate the fact that teams want to show up early, and that's a good thing. And it's not unheard of to have the current start time staged up and the next start time already starting to arrive, if not already there. And it just makes for a very congested area. So just necessary personnel only, please. And then, like I mentioned, when you get to follow vehicle check-in, this is where you're going to get your GPS device from Verizon. And I will have a video later once I get that device. Verizon's supposed to send me out a device probably around the beginning of March, and we'll go over how to turn it on and what to do with it. All vehicles must check in, or else your runner will not be allowed to start, so make sure that you're there. Going over some of the runner signs, as it says here. The caution runner ahead sign, your follow vehicle must have one of those. I believe we saw one of those in the photos that I was showing. If you're not sure what I'm referencing, if you look up the team captain meeting video, the second one, which was a few weeks ago, I did a PowerPoint slide presentation that had photos of what these signs should look like. So you can reference that. Your team number, again, we do want the reflective numbers. You shall have those reflective numbers on the rear window driver's side. Okay. We would like you to write your team number using, shoe polish or one of those white markers uh, on the other sides of your vehicle. This helps identify the vehicle. Also, what we would like is if your follow vehicle has a AED machine, we want that written on the rear window as well as the driver's side passenger window. Please, this is very important. If you can get an AED machine out in your follow vehicle, I highly advise that you do. True story, you can look it up on YouTube. Um, there was an incident that we had with a runner. I want to say it was 2018, Manhattan Beach, and their runner went down. And that year, there was only one follow vehicle that had an AED machine, and it was theirs. And they used it on their teammate, and it saved his life. So if you can get one of those out there, please do so. It's not mandatory, but we strongly encourage an AED machine. The amber light, like I talked about, you must have it and it must be visible. So let's make sure that we have that light. The FRS radio, this is mandatory as well. Channel 3, tone 18. This is used to communicate with other follow vehicles. If you fail to do so, you do run the risk of a penalty. We have staff out there who are trying to reach you as well as they're driving by because they see something and they're trying to let you know, hey, get inside that fog line or whatever the case may be. So please make sure that you have that radio turned on and that you are monitoring it. Sound systems, this usually isn't a big thing anymore. Most of you are wearing your headphones. But if you do have a sound system, let's make sure that we're turning it off. Early warning doesn't exist anymore, but let's make sure that we're turning it off prior to coming into the exchange area and not turning it back on until we're well out of there. Be advised in stage 10 and 11, we're traveling through civilization, if you will, through Pahrump. Be respectful. And then stage 18 through the finish line, it is 100% off. So if you have any amplified sound on your follow vehicle as of stage 18, coming into 18, when you're coming down into Vegas, you are going to turn it off. It is off. There is no negotiating. There's no, hey, I'm just going to turn it on just a little bit. It is off. There is a lot of residents in that area. And excuse me, every single year, it becomes harder and harder to get permits. And all we need is somebody to say, hey, why are these guys playing this music at some ungodly hour? Because we're usually in there around 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. So we don't want that. We don't need that. We're better than that. So let's make sure that that is turned off and there is no amplified sound 18 through the finish line. And then if you want headphones, stages 1 through 17, I don't care what kind of headphones you use. Doesn't matter to me if they're in the ear, over the ear, bone conductor, doesn't matter to me. However, 18 through finish, bone conductor headphones only. Nothing over the ear or in the ear. Yes, we have Vegas Metro monitoring the intersections. However, we have had some incidences where we've had some close calls. So just because you have law enforcement out there, you all need to be aware of your surroundings. So just be advised as you're going through the intersections, and this is why we don't want anything in the ear or over the ear, making sure that you can hear everything. Follow vehicle, following a runner. Again, we talked about it briefly. Just make sure that we're a safe distance away. If you have to pull off, we completely understand. Restroom, gas, grabbing something from the store, whatever it is, not a problem, especially when we get into Pahrump. A lot of A lot of teams do that, but communicate. That's what that FRS radio is for. Make sure that number one, you let your runner know. And then number two, you let the others in the area know, hey, look, we're stepping off to grab some gas, got to use the head, whatever the case may be, and let them know so that way somebody can look after your runner. Don't just pull off and leave your runner all by themselves. Runners overtaking a follow vehicle, follow vehicles, and this is especially at night. This is why we have the reflective as well as the lights both in front and the back, so that way as you are looking through your rear view mirror or your side mirrors, you can identify runners. If a runner is coming up, very easily pull to the left, let that runner through, and then again fall back in behind the runner. So just be aware. You can read through the notes there and for all the other details, but that's it in a nutshell. Follow vehicles along 160. We're going to stay inside that fog line. Coming down 16 gets a little tight, but stay as tight as we can. Making sure, being aware of runners coming up. Again, follow vehicle behind. If that's your runner who's coming up on another vehicle, let them know. So reach out and using your FRS radio and let them know, hey, I've got our runner coming up on your, on your right-hand side, pull to your left, let our runner through. So just make sure that we're doing that. Runners passing, we talked about that. Follow vehicles passing another follow vehicle. Again, follow vehicle if it's safe, pull to that right and let the other follow vehicle come around you. So just make sure that we do it in a safe manner. All the rules of the road still apply. As the observer, making sure that we're keeping a log. I strongly suggest team captains that you guys leave your official run plan in that follow vehicle because we're going to need it at the end of the race anyways. And if runners switch out, we need to know. Or if a runner goes down, let's make sure that run plan is in there so those changes can be indicated on that sheet as well as any stoppage time. If you are stopped, you're going to be stopped by our personnel. And he's going to be out there. He's going to write down what's going on, how long you've been stopped, the time that you were stopped, and the time that you took off again. There will be another video that talks about if you are stopped, grabbing the baton and starting over, or not starting over, but starting the next stage. I'll go over that in another video. Vehicle code violations, 100%. Like I said, I feel strongly about speeding out there. Do not do so. Okay, please let your runners know, let your support staff know, let everybody on your team know it is not okay. There's way too many people out there, not to mention the citizens that live in the area. Don't speed. Passing vehicles. These are for all the vehicles that are out there. Just again, the follow vehicles should be far to the right. The other vehicles should be able to pass, do so in a safe manner. Do not cut off cars. Guys, we are all trying to get to the next stage as quickly as possible, and I respect that, but don't do so in a negligent manner. Make sure that you're safe. Start line, there is no parking area along the start line, along the sides of the road, so please make sure that you understand that. Park where instructed to park. If you are told you cannot park there, guess what? You cannot park there, so don't do so. There are no parking zones in all the stages, so just be aware. There is shoulder parking along most of the area. Now that we're here, actually, I'll get to it in just a moment. But if you're being told by race personnel, hey, you can't park there, just don't do it. Don't start a back and forth with them, please. Okay, because you're going to cost your team. Don't argue. Your team captains, every one of your team captains has my phone number. If something comes up, they are going to call me and we'll get it straightened out. Okay, but there is no arguing with any race officials out there. Unauthorized follow vehicles, yes, there are some that are unauthorized, and here's where it is. You can look those up. Motorhome parking, not permitted alongside the highways. Just be aware. Read through that section. Same thing, motorhome usage. You definitely cannot use it as a shuttle vehicle, and you cannot use it as a follow vehicle. So just read through there. This is where I wanted to talk about some of the stuff. Stage 8 and Stage 16. You're going to have parking placards, and only the vehicle with the parking placard is going to be allowed entry into Stage 8 and Stage 16. We've had problems in the past, and we haven't even been at this number of teams. So at 274 teams, whatever problems we've had in the past is going to be magnified. This is why we have these parking placards. I will be on the race course. Others on staff will be on the race course. If we see vehicles parked, we will wait. And when you arrive, we will find out what team you're with, because first of all, every vehicle should have their team number on there that's on the race course, and your team will be penalized. Period. End of discussion. Because we cannot have you guys parking along the road at 8 and 16. That's why we created parking placards. There is no way around it. There is no, hey, I'm just going to do this or I'm going to do that. No. The only vehicles that are allowed in are those with the parking placard. Okay, and you're not getting your parking placard until Friday, and you don't know what the design is, so you can't make copies. All of that stuff I've taken into consideration. So please, please, please be advised. And I think we're getting close to the end here. And that is it. That's everything in regards to the follow vehicle. One last thing that I do want to add is, again, your official run plan and the tracking device are required to be turned in immediately once your final runner has come into the parking lot at the Rio. When you come into the parking lot at the Rio, your runner is going to stay inside the chute. There is plenty of parking to the rear. You, as the follow vehicle, yes, I know you're tired. I know it's been a long day, but you're going to park your vehicle and you're going to come in through the back doors. There's a small little stairway to the rear. I should have a sign out there. You're just going to walk right up the stairs into the double glass doors, and there's going to be a couple of nice ladies sitting at a table with a sign that says run plans here. You're going to turn in that run plan. They're going to ask you to sign it, and you're going to turn in your device from Verizon. This is mandatory. You will be disqualified if these items are not turned in. Period. End of discussion. Not negotiable. Ask a couple of teams from last year what occurred. Okay. Again, I know you're tired. I appreciate all the hard work, but these items have to be collected. Again, it is your responsibility to read through the rule book. I've shown you where you can find it. Again, that's bakervegas.net. Scroll down on that homepage and you will see this little icon there. Click on that and the rule book will pop up. Scroll through it, read it. You've got plenty of time, but you are responsible for everything in there. All right, everyone. I really hope this video was helpful. I, as well as your team captain and team members, appreciate all that you do, because being in that follow vehicle is not easy. We appreciate it. All of us who have participated in the race understand that we cannot be successful without you. So thank you for what you do. Again, if you have any questions, reach out to me. Thank you for your time. I know how precious it is. All of you guys have an amazing week. And until next time, bye for now.